So that is here what I will talk about usability of your information system. Okay. Now I will have a pause moment. I have these 5 questions. Okay. Please read them and think of their answers one by one. So 2 minutes. You can even write down some idea you got for each of these questions. Okay. So keep these questions in mind and then have your answers in mind. Okay, we will find out the answers from the lecture as well. First, what is the usability assessment? Why do we need to do that? What criteria and measures we can use to do that? And then link them to your project. If you need to design usability assessment, how could you do that for your own project? You need to define that too, okay? And there are 2 things. Whether the assessment, we call usability assessment, right? So whether the assessment is objective or subjective. How do we differentiate them and design? You want subjective or objective? When we do an assessment, should we do subjective one or objective one? Objective, right? We want to assess, particularly, specifically focusing to the point, not because of your or the user's feelings. Okay. All right. We can define the meaning. Okay, what it is. Usability is an overall evaluation of how a system performs in supporting a particular user to do a task. Okay, for a particular task. So when you assess the usability, it should not be whether do you like it. When you assess, when you ask a user to assess your system, the question should not be, do you like it? How do you feel about the system? Or is it beautiful? No. It's about supporting a user to do a task. So it should be what is the effectiveness? What is the efficiency? What is the performance? What is the speed? How much could it help you to do the task, right? If I ask you to do a system for me, I want the system to be, of course, it has no error. That's for sure, right? I'm not asking you to do a system that is only beautiful, but it has to be, as I said, objective assessment, not using feeling. So using certain objective measures. Okay, so it could be about speed. Can you complete a task efficiently? How long does it take? Should not ask, do you think the system is fast? No, don't ask about opinion and feeling. make the user to perform the task and measure the task. If you want to know how fast it is, measure it, not by asking opinion. If you want to see the accuracy of the system, don't ask the user as well. Do you think the system can do the work you want? Okay, no. You're designing survey, so it should take into account your survey form for everything. It should not be about opinion, because opinion vary, and opinion depends on moods, right? We are people and we can forget. Sometimes today we feel good about the system. We can rate the system very good score. Sometimes we are moody and oh, everything goes wrong. Oh, 0, 0, 0 or something, right? So no, make it very objective. If it is about accuracy, don't ask the opinion. Let the user do the job and see whether there are errors of performing the job or not. If I ask you to write a program to calculate GPA, enter subject, grade, subject, grade, subject, grade, right? And then calculate CGPA and GPA over the semester. I would not ask you, does the system produce correct GPA? No, I would just ask you to do the things and finally check the result, right? If the result is calculated correctly, then it is accurate, using many cases and so on. And helping the user to do work correctly too. Satisfaction. Okay, if it is satisfaction, now it comes to opinion and feeling. Do you feel satisfied? This is the only thing that users are allowed to use opinion, but other measures, no. Okay, so these are important factors when you make assessment of usability. First, you can assess the consistency of the system. All the user interface should be consistent. Terminology used, titles, formatting, navigation, and so on. These must be consistent along the whole system. Second, efficiency. Efficiency means it's fast. Then again, not by feeling. When you say that system A and system B are, which one is faster? You cannot just, do you think A is faster than B or not? No, right? You just let user perform the same task on A and B, and then you measure the time. That is the way to make it very accurate assessment. Okay, do the same task on both systems, and then you measure the time. For example, ease of use, whether the system has self-explanatory output and label. And again, don't ask, do you think the system is easy to use? It is your system, right? Let them use the system. If for some tasks, users spend an hour to just do something, give a user a task that he is not known, right? If the system is not easy, will it take a long time? Yes, right? But not ask. So just do assessment by performing certain task-based evaluation and assessment. That is a more accurate way to get the result. Okay, when you say it is easy, if I say that my ISDM subject is easy, I give you exam. Then I will say, right? I will not ask you whether you think it is easy or not. Then that's subjective. I just give you exam and then I see the result. The same thing, right? I give you the system. I ask you to do something. If it is easy, you should be able to complete it within short time. Okay. Next is, okay, formatting. This can be measure, assess by walkthrough or something. Okay, and flexibility, maximize options for data input accounting. Okay, but anyway, we can consider several factors, several characteristics that we need to consider in the accessibility. usability assessment, sorry. Then in terms of the users, okay, who are the users? Do they have experience in the system or not? Their education and background, are they very familiar with that kind of system and so on? This is very important, right? If you ask a doctor to perform a lot of complicated systems related to health, of course, his education background may allow him to understand some of the user interface. But if you ask someone who has no health related knowledge, some of their user interface may be difficult for them to understand the results and so on. And in terms of the task, you need to understand about the time, the error, the work duration that it takes. Okay. And okay, so to measure usability, these are examples of things you can think of, but just examples. It depends on what your objective of measurement is. As I said, don't ask opinion. Make it objective. If you want to understand how easy the system is, measure the time. How long time does it take for a user, not for you, who are developer, okay? A user who don't know about the system to learn how to use the system, to accomplish a task. If it is easy, must be short. Speed of performing something. Give a task. How long time does it take to complete execution of that task by the system? Calculating something such as building machine learning model and so on, right? That should be fast if the performance is good. Rate of errors. How many errors the system produce? The errors can be by the system or the errors can be by the user. If your system is not properly designed, it allows user to do a lot of mistakes. That is because of your system too, right? If you make it a good design, you prevent some mistakes. Even input mistake, you can prevent, right? They type something in the telephone number, but they type some strings. This should not be there. This can be detected. It is also part of the error that your system should handle. Retention over time. If you allow user to use the system today, then wait for another week, try the system again. Then wait for another month, maybe try the system again. If the user is able to use it within short time, then it means that it is easy enough, right? Have you tried learning? I think you talk about learning what? Figma. Some of you learn to use Figma just recently, right? Some of you learn maybe some other tools, mock up. Any other tools you use apart from Figma? What else? Pardon? Adobe SD. And then you said mock flow. Okay. The very first time you try, does it require you learning curve? Yes, right? And if finish this semester, again, August, there are another project, another course you take. You need to try using, working on the project and use similar tools. Do you think you can remember everything? Maybe not, right? But at least you get some familiarization for something. That is knowledge retention, system usage retention. People are not using everything every day, right? But if it is not easy, we forget, and every time we use it, oh, things are so difficult, then that is not good system, right? Okay. Then satisfaction, as I said, this is the only thing I allow it to be subjective. The other things, please design your usability to be objectively measured those factors. But satisfaction, okay, because its satisfaction is very subjective to the user, right? So consistency of layout, okay, this should be okay, user-centered design. I should talk about what? To ensure usability, you may need to test early and often, because when you test early, you find something to improve, you can improve, right? When you find that, oh, users make a lot of mistakes, that means you need to revise, modify your system to reduce those mistakes user make, okay? And, okay. To plan a usability test, define everything you are evaluating or making an assessment. Be sure you design it first. Don't just go and do it. Okay, everything requires a good design and plan. So before you do an assessment, define the scope, what you want to test. Define the objective or purpose, what you want to know. Okay, the goals of the test. Define the schedule and location. Where are you going to do it and when? Session, how long will it take? Because you need to recruit the users. You are not testing the usability by yourself. Agile and Scrum team, you are developer. When you do a testing, you involve real users, not testing by you. Testing by you is just to test everything works fine, but then a real serious test is by users. So you need to define all this, right? Because you need to properly communicate with them before recruiting them. How many people, what equipment you need? If they are using your system, do they need to bring laptop? And so on. We're talking about doctors, patients, right? We need to make sure they have their own machine using, not your super machine that you provide and all bug free and so on, right? Windows are clean. Think about real machines of the users. If they really need to install, connect to the web, will they find a real issues? Okay. It's about the project. I try to relate with the project. They need to bring their equipment. If I'm thinking about your project as an example, if you provide a machine, it's no problem for sure, right? Participants, yes, it is what I already talked about. Participants of the users, how many of them, who are they? If you are gonna test many types of users, doctors, medical assistants, patients, maybe you separate the sessions too, right? But how many of them? And what are they going to do? Make them scenarios, not just, okay, this is a system. Just go and do everything you want. No, then they get lost. You need to give them instructions. Okay, you have to do 5 things. Suppose you are my patient. I want to conduct usability test on the patient. I tell you that this is a system, it's available here. This is the QR code. So I give you 5 tasks. First, launch the system. Register. Second, launch and install, right, if it requires. Second, maybe register to be a new patient. Third, make an appointment with a doctor of skin department. Okay, suppose the patient has problem with skin, or make an appointment with a doctor, assuming that you have some cold-like symptom. Okay, you need to give scenario, because otherwise it's beyond the control and you get very variety of results that you cannot compare. Task number 4, number 3, make an appointment with this specific doctor, right? Search for doctor, make specific appointment. Number 4, maybe make a consultation, virtual consultation with a doctor. Number 5, perform the follow-up, like if assume you have some problems with the medicine, you want to seek help. How do you do that on platform? So you define the scenarios for user to use the system, and then you can define the metrics. to evaluate properly, such as successful task completion. All these tasks that I gave you as my patients. Do you succeed to do that? Do you succeed to register? Do you succeed to make appointment? Do you succeed to cancel appointment? Do you succeed to talk to the doctor online? I will need to define, measure these metrics. Okay. Errors. Do my users, each of you separately, face any errors? Okay. Even some system, right? I think registering is many users find registering also difficult for some system, right? Oh, if you send an email, you need to click activate by email confirming you are the person, send through OTP, fill the number. Sometimes user cannot pass all these things, even something complicated. So what are the rate of errors? Even for critical error, you can define into critical errors and non-critical errors, but they are the errors that user face, okay, or make. Also, error-free rate. Is there any users who make everything perfect without error? That means your system is very good, right? If there are, but if every user will make a little bit of this error, a little bit of that error, means your system needs to be improved. Time on task. As I said, I give you 5 tasks. How long does it take to finish task 1, task 2, task 3, including the struggling period, right? And also the learning period. We time it, okay? And as I said, subjective measures could be like Likert scale. Oh, do you think the system is easy to use in your opinion? Will you recommend the system to other friends and family? This and that you can ask, right? These are subjective satisfaction survey. This can be there, okay? But the only thing that I think it can be there. Like and dislike and recommendation, these are subjective things, okay? Okay, so this is an example of one usability, standard usability test, but it's not for everything. Okay, this is a subjective satisfaction survey called SUS, System Usability Scale. It's very opinion, you can read. I think that I would like to use this website or application frequently. I found this website unnecessarily complex. I thought this website was easy to use and so on and so on. This is example of subjective satisfaction and opinion from a user, okay? But it is a standard one, but don't think that this is I found, in my class ISDM, I introduced it. And then later on, when I have many of you working on your research or thesis, all of you just use this survey test as part of the evaluation. This is not the only thing, okay? I just give an example, but it's a good example and standard one. But it really depends on the types of system and the objective of your evaluation, okay? It's not that one survey fits all, okay? And once you get the score, you need to be able to interpret all the metrics and measure you are working on, right? You should use them from the result of assessment, use them to improve the system, to understand how good or not good your system is for the moment. For example, if we talk about SUS, they also have the standard range of the score, such as if the score is around below 40, it's for the poor. It means the system is very poor. If the score is from 40 to 50, it's kind of okay, and so on. Okay, you need to have a way to interpret the result. Okay. Don't forget, try to think about your project. how or what is appropriate to define the usability test. Every system before you launch and use, you really need to make sure that it's usable. And again, not by opinion, by really. If you think it's usable, I will say that everybody who's using it must be able to successfully accomplish the task, must be having very less or zero errors, critical errors especially. Maybe a few non-critical errors are acceptable. There must be a lot of patients, doctors, medical assistants, right, who successfully use the system and producing zero errors. Time on task should be short. If I let you do the registration and it takes you on average, everyone, I take the average time, 10 minutes to register for a system. I think that I don't have that patience anymore. The patience to wait. I think you have less and less, you become less and less patient to wait for something, right? When something takes you too long, you feel annoyed, frustrated, and so on. So the same, if certain thing is too difficult, your users will feel negative about the system. Okay, so time on task should be also the one important measure as well, and productivity. Okay, I didn't show here the productivity. Okay, it is here. Successful task completion. For example, I used to work with a company working on, advisor on some projects with a library, digital library system or something. One thing that we may need to measure is that we give 1 hour for a librarian to perhaps do cataloging. You know, cataloging in the library means we need to record every book. If you get a new book, right, you need to record all the detail of the book into the system, right, and also put the catalog that this is QA 94.36 or something like that. This is about computer programming. This is about this and that and so on. All these things are called cataloging. If the system is very easy and helpful, in 1 hour, I would expect that the librarian should be able to catalog 20 or 30 books. So that is the successful task completion rate. Within specific time, I'm not talking about giving a task, right? But I'm talking about giving a time. How many of successful task completion rate you could or an ordinary user could accomplish? The same for a hospital. The pharmacist, for example, may need to register all medicine into the inventory. If the system is easy, within 1 hour, maybe the pharmacist could register 200, too much, 100 or 60, okay, 1 minute per one medicine, 60 types of medicine, something like that. Because if you have to key everything, then it takes time, right? And if your user interface of keying in the form is difficult, it takes time. Maybe if you use barcode, if you use some other technology, it helps speed up. And that tells how good, easy, and supporting your system is. Okay. The same if I'm talking about management. Manager, suppose I'm a manager of the hospital, taking care of this online service. And I usually need to look at many of the reports. And the system may support me to customize the report by myself. Okay, so maybe you give me a task that do this report that you may want. Report 1, report 2, report 3 that I can customize and make myself. How long does it take me? to produce such a report or retrieve and generate such a report by the system, by myself. This is again used by this kind of evaluation. Okay, so that's about the usability topic, usability assessment. Okay, so in the future, if any one of you have me as either committee advisor or for your research project thesis, the way to evaluate will not be just by satisfaction. Okay, make the system evaluation become very objective. When we want to claim that our system is effective and efficient, don't just ask the user, do you think the system is effective? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, okay. Prove it by let the user do something. If it is effective, it will help the user to perform the task, right? If it is efficient, it will help the user to do the task with small error and in short time. So prove it. Okay. All right.